The most important skill for someone to learn is a business skill. The business skill creates the value, and then the value attracts the currency of the money. As long as you are presenting value, you'll never be broke ever again.
Yo, welcome to another edition of More Than a Barber. I am your host, AP, and listen, I have an amazing episode for you today. I want you to get your seats ready, get your popcorn ready, man. We got a great episode today. So listen, I have my guy with me, man. He is an entrepreneur, an investor, 35 million plus in investments. He is a former candidate for the Texas State House, featured in the top 100 real estate magazine. The Bag, he has a community. You got to check this out. This is hot right here. I got the Bag University. None other than my guy, Liddell Sugg. What's
What
up,
it
man?
do, baby?
How
You doing
you
all right,
doing,
big time?
man?
I'm well. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah,
Listen,
baby.
I am inspired by your bio. I'm inspired,
bless.
by
sure.
just what it is that you're doing, man. This
trying to
is
get it, brother.
amazing, man. So how you feeling? What's going on in your world?
Man, over here, man, number one being a husband first,
I love it.
father second, and the businessman third.
I love that in that
So,
order.
In that order, man.
Yeah.
It's just trying to balance out entrepreneurship with family. It's all you're always adjusting, especially when you got teenagers. I got teenagers, man.
Wow,
So,
wow.
yeah, my daughter's going to start driving now.
I got you.
So pray for your partner.
I
Pray for
got
your
you,
partner,
man. Well, listen, man, I am so excited, man. This is a podcast where we turn conversations from the barber chair into episodes.
Yes,
And we
sir.
oftentimes we talk about real estate. We talk about really getting to the bag, especially in this economy.
For sure.
And so today, I really want to dive into it with you. Let's get right into
Holla
it,
at me,
man.
holla at me.
Walk me through everything, but let's start from the beginning. How'd you get into this space?
Well, when I was 17 years old,
Mm-hmm.
my Uncle Gary, who still lives to this day, introduced me to a concept called passive income.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, Uncle, what's that?"
Yeah.
He said, "Something that you do one time, but you get paid over and over again." I'm like, "Why am I trying to go to college? I want to know how to do that."
Gotcha.
And so while I was in college, I began to look at business models that generated passive or residual income. One of them was real estate, because everybody and their mama actually had it, from Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, all the billionaires actually had real estate in their portfolio. So I began buying real estate while I was in college. The first deal that I did, I made $3,500. And in college, that's a big time. In college, 'cause
sure.
you're broke.
For sure.
In college.
For
So
sure.
then I went from 3,500 to 10,000 to 26,000, and now $35 million worth of real estate.
$35 million. Somebody may be watching, they're like, yo, that is a lot of money, especially in this day and time
It is.
where the average salary is anywhere from $70,000 to $80,000.
Yeah.
And I heard someone say, if you have a family, husband and wife, and you're making six figures, you're
Yeah.
kind of barely making it. So how did you tap into just really being able to invest at a high level? I mean, when you think about investing 35 plus million, that is something for me that I'm interested.
Well, for me, is business is always about solving someone's problem. Whenever you're buying a real estate transaction, the one thing I look at is, what's the pain point? Why you want to sell for? And typically, I like buying properties below wholesale. I never buy properties at retail. That didn't make any sense to me at all, because I'm planning for the worst case scenario. Each and every deal that I actually acquire, I actually take home cash when I actually acquire it.
Wow.
Every single time.
So you take home cash, and me being a professional barber, this is going to be more like a master class. I want to get the game. I want our community who's watching this episode to get the game. So if I want to get into fixing and flipping, if I want to get into investment, what is this community that you have already built? How can I come into your community and benefit from the lessons that you're learning or teaching?
My whole thing is, one thing I hear a lot of the times when it comes to anybody in real estate is, I don't have the money or the credit or the time or the intellectual property. And I said, oh, okay, no problem. I have the money, have the credit, have the relationships. I'll teach you how to locate a good deal, right? You buy below wholesale.
I love that.
And once I teach you that, right, I'll bring me the deal.
Yeah.
I help you underwrite the deal, which is fine. I'll even fund the transaction for you as well. So there's no excuses on the table at all. That's why we call that the cash flow club. Period.
okay.
So what happens is, people always ask me all the time, Dale, can you train me? Well, I don't have the time to do that. But what if I set up a platform for it to where you get on-demand training? Anytime you want to, because the training you may need may be after you get off work,
Yeah.
early in the morning, during the day. You can just log into your account and get the same training as if I'm sitting there one-on-one. We're talking about our attorneys, our general contractors, our appraisers, as well as me, talking about how to structure your business, how to put together what they call a power team. A power
like
team
it.
is very important. How to put a deal together, right, and buy it at the right price point. How to market. There's one technique that people don't understand, that you can actually get a list of properties that from your city for free.
Whoa, whoa. So
Free,
walk me
yeah.
through that. Like you can physically get buildings that's or homes or properties available for free?
Yeah, I'll send you guys the bill in the mail. It's real simple. What you can do is you can actually call down to your city and
Okay.
ask for the violations division. What happens is you say, "Hey, I want to see what homes in our city actually have violations. No, what are violations? High grass, no paint, vacant. You have boards on there. Those are actually violations that the city or citation that the city has actually levied against that property. They'll give you that list for free. It may be a little bit of a fee, maybe $100.
Sure.
But it is what it is. Then what you do is you actually you can contact those sellers of those properties one-on-one.
Wow, and that's how you make your money.
That's one way.
That's one way.
That's one way.
So in this community, you have these modules on demand. I can come in, tap in,
Yeah.
because right now I'm at a space where I am trying to diversify my portfolio.
Sure.
I have one rental property under my belt. I mean I'm blessed.
For
I'm
sure.
grateful for it, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to diversify. So I'm like, yo, I got to get my boy Liddell on here so he can give not just myself,
Yes, sir.
but our community the game on fixing, flipping, real estate investing,
Yeah.
that whole piece.
Yeah.
So you talked about balancing business and family. You know, for me, that's one of the number one things that I think those that are very gifted, those that are very influential in their particular niche,
Yeah.
have a challenge doing.
Yeah.
How do you balance life, family, and us being believers, you know, that whole piece too?
Sure.
How do you balance that?
Well, my financial text for that is Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom and his righteousness.
I love that.
And all things, he'll add all these things. So I
Yeah.
kind of changed up a little bit. I said, all right,
got you.
if I seek the kingdom and the king himself, he'll do all the adding for me.
I love it.
So as long as now, what does it look like?
Yeah.
That's different from everybody's context.
Yeah.
And so for me, what I say is, well, there's a book by Dan Martell. It's called Buy Back Your Time. Good guy. He and I have been communicating via DM on Instagram.
Love that.
He has sold 3 companies for $100 million. $100 million. Wow. 3 companies. So very established individual. He has a technique called audit, right? Transfer, and then fill. Audit means that audit what you're good at and what you're not good at, what you like and what you don't like. What you don't like. Transfer what you don't like or what you're not good at. And then fill that with someone that's actually good and likes doing that. What he's saying is hire not to just to get an employee, hire to buy back your time. And he used the example of Oprah or even Richard Brunson. He actually had the privilege of going to sit down and visit with Richard Brunson for a whole day. He said in the morning we got up, and for 2 hours Richard Brunson had the system there. I mean, for 2 hours. And now he accessed 300 to 400 companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
so what actually happens for 2 or 3 hours, they're going through his schedule, things of that nature. And after that, he was out having fun.
Wow.
So he only worked for 3 hours.
So he literally figured out a way to buy back his time. Of course, he's extremely wealthy.
Sure.
But that concept,
Yes.
it applies to us all. We could implement on a lower scale.
Correct.
You know, and for me, thinking about buying back your time, you know, that's something that is hard to do.
It is.
If you don't have the right resources
It
or
is.
if you don't have the right community around you. Because oftentimes when you got a good thing going,
Yeah.
and you are really killing it in your sphere,
For sure.
it's hard to balance.
Well, I think the fallacy there is people believe that buying back your time begins with money. No, it does not.
Oh,
It
okay.
begins with your intellectual capital.
Okay.
The most important skill for someone to learn is a business skill. The business skill creates the value, and then the value attracts the currency of the money. As long as you are presenting value, you will never be broke ever again.
I like that.
Don't
man.
begin the discussion
That's a bar.
at the money, because then your foundation's off. Begin, okay, how can I present value to attract the cash?
You know, it's so crazy that you said that. That's a bar, by the way. That's a bar.
Appreciate it.
It's money is the focus,
Yeah.
right? not character first, not value first. It's just, I got to get to the bag. And so for me, looking at it from what you're saying, man, like that is a powerful thing when you understand that buying back your time doesn't start with money.
No, it does not.
It's mindset, to your point.
Yeah.
So why do you think our culture is there, though, man? Because you got to think, I'm in this space hearing this all day, every day. I got to get to the bag. I got to get to the bag.
Well, I would say, I have to go back to the scriptures.
Yeah.
Faith comes by hearing.
Yeah.
What do they hear every day? Money, 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 money.
I got
Bag,
you.
bag, 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 bag.
I got you.
And so they're not doing Romans 12, which is renewing their mind. And so for me, when I hear the word money, 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 and I'm saying, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But how can I attract the money? I don't want to chase the money. I want it to come to me. And so when I begin to study those, that actually happens. Jerry Jones,
Yeah.
Robert Kraft. These are NFL owners.
Yeah.
Then I had Myron Allen. Myron Golden's another guy. Byron Allen's another guy. People like that. Brian Adamson's another guy. I began studying these guys, and I'm saying, wait a minute, how are they attracting so much capital? And I began to understand that their psyche, and they were always giving out value via business skills. So I said, wait a minute. Let me look at this and see how I get this done. So when I began to change my perspective on, okay, if I'm going into real estate, there's probably 4 or 5 different investors trying to compete for said property.
Sure.
How can I present a package to a seller that says, I understand your need, your pain, and here's the right prescription for what you were looking for?
Wow.
When I began doing that, I began getting deals all the time. I mean, for a little bit, I was called the subject to king in Dallas.
Wow.
And so, because everybody was using all my contracts, they were using all my techniques, and that's fine. But they were talking bad about me behind the scenes.
Wow.
But it is what it is. Ain't no thing.
Absolutely. So you started at 17.
Yeah.
And then you talked about attracting these particular individuals. Jerry Jones, Myron Golden.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We mentioned him at a few episodes back.
Yeah.
He is the GOAT.
Modern day Joe.
He is. He's the GOAT. And so what would you say that you've done in the past or here even in real time to attract these particular like-minded individuals or those that you can sit at their table and eat from?
With me having the desire to seek wise counsel, I don't wait for someone to come to me. I go pursue. If there's a need there, I want to fulfill the need as fast as I can and as effectively as I can. Faith comes by hearing.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, Myron Golden, phenomenal, man. Dan Martell, good. Patrick McDavid, another guy. Matt Sapala. These guys I know. I've never met Myron yet, but I'm going to meet him.
Absolutely.
Talk to Dan. Know Matt is a good friend of mine. Know Patrick as well. These guys are mighty men. Wow. And I just allow for them to speak. And I always ask, for instance, I own a private equity company as well. We have a lot of assets under management on my private equity side. And private equity is a fast way for you to get to the billions, to the B's. And so we're almost there, which is good.
Wow.
And what tripped me out is I actually had a phone call from my former campaign manager when I actually ran public office. He said, Liddell, let me come by the house. I was like, man, I get pitched every day, man. What you want? He said, man, you got to see this business model. All right, man, come on through.
Yeah.
He came through and he said, man, this is the first AI-powered ammo machine that's that we want to put in grocery stores. I was like,
wow.
Where'd this come from? He said, well, Liddell, the 4 largest rural grocery chains contacted us. Wow. I said, hey, we queried our consumers. They drive 300 to 500 miles to a Cabela's or a Bass Pro Shop to buy the ammo. So we asked them, if we were to offer ammo in our stores, would you buy? They all said, heck yes. No problem with it at all. So they reached out to us. Yeah. So I asked the owners, I said, guys, this is your store. Why you need me for?
Right.
I said, we're not in the ammo business. We're in the grocery store business. So enough said. One person I called several people, James Case, Grant Majors, who's the CEO of the company. We appointed him as CEO. Lauren Sunger, the COO. But he's also a former Marine veteran. So he knows the stuff. So I said,
yes.
Matt, man, I'm kind of worrying. I'm not a ammo guy. I'm a business guy. He said, he asked me a question. He said, Liddell, what will stop you from not investing in this? And I said, not knowing enough about ammo. He said, do you have a team around you that can advise you? Yes, make the investment.
Wow.
So I made the investment.
So this is an AI-generated vending machine.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. What it does is
Wow.
you go up to the machine and you click on it. What it actually says, it says, "Hey, AP, are you over 21 years old?"
Yeah.
It says, "Yes, I am." And it goes to a little disclaimer, and you keep going. Then you choose your MO. Then they ask you again, "AP, are you 21 years old?" You say,
Yeah.
"Yes." Then it says, "Put in your driver's license." You put in the driver's license. It says, "You look up." It scans your face. It's the same technology that the TSA uses.
Wow.
So, and it's there to confirm that the person on the driver's license is the person buying the ammo, right there.
That's wild.
Then you buy it. 30 seconds, you actually have your ammo.
All I'm gonna say is, Liddell, just don't forget about me.
Hey man,
Don't forget about me.
man.
AI generated vending machine where you can buy
Yeah.
ammo, and I'm assuming more will come as far as
yeah.
what they can, invest in and
We'll
what they
be
can.
in probably 1,800 stores in the next 36 months. We have probably, and there's a logistical side as well when it comes to delivering. We've been studying the Amazon logistical model, their delivery model.
Sure.
They perform better than the U.S. Postal Service, FedEx, and UPS combined. And so,
That's
but a lot of
interesting.
the valuation comes from their delivery side as well.
Got you.
So I just said, wait a minute, we have another valuation here, guys. And so right now we're going through the process of evaluating that model. And we'll probably have a $2 billion valuation by the end of this thing.
So when I hear this, I also think about those who will pretty much be without jobs
Yeah.
when it comes to an AI generated vending machine. I'm only assuming that this thing is going to expand at a rapid pace because
will.
once you're going to be in 1,800 stores in the next few months. And for me, I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get in on that.
Well, when it comes to jobs like that, that's the first thing I get. Well, you're replacing jobs. Actually, I'm not. What I tell them is that you are refusing to conform. The one thing that God has blessed man with is knowledge. Knowledge, not coupled with wisdom, leads to chaos. But if you have knowledge with wisdom,
That's a bar.
what actually happens is you always begin to adapt to your surroundings. So
I like
we are moving fast when it comes to technology. Okay, no problem. I see we going more toward the AI. How can I redefine myself so that I can begin to present value?
I love
I'll
that.
give you an example. A good
Yeah.
friend of mine, Will,
Yes.
and he's in the payment processing business. We have a payment processor we're using right now, which is great. We love him. Great. But I'm always looking for competition to say, just to make sure, can I get a better deal? Well, he's a brother. And I said, hey, man, this is what we're doing. He said, Dale, can I, listen, this is what he said. He said, can I compete for the business?
Wow.
He said, I don't want to give you nothing. I want to compete for the business. I said, present something to me. And it just so happens that I'm getting those numbers later on this week.
Wow.
We see how it goes.
I heard this. We were reading this article about the CEO of Nokia.
Yeah.
And you talked about Conform. The CEO of Nokia has this massive team meeting, and he tells everybody to come in, and he says, listen, I just want to say this. We did nothing wrong, but at the end, we still lost. And I'm like, that's wild. So you can do everything the right way. You can do all of the right things from
Yes.
sales to
Yes.
marketing. But the problem that I had with that article is the CEO failed to conform.
Yes.
He failed to innovate and be creative. You did all the right things. You were the number one company, right, for years.
Yeah.
But then someone said, I'm going to do what you are not willing to do,
Yeah.
which is conform and
Yeah.
think outside the box.
Yeah.
Now Apple and Android is the top leading companies,
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
And so I like what you said about conforming.
Yeah.
You got to adapt. You have to be what they call liquid in this particular day and time because things are moving at a rapid pace. Look at
they
that.
are.
You got AI generated vending machines. That's going to be a game changer, man.
It's pretty exciting, man, to see, man, to where that's going to go. That's also going to create a lot of jobs as well also.
Okay.
I'm able to offer opportunities to my family members. Hey, man, we're going to be in Louisiana. Hey, you want to run this division for me? Sure. Now I got to make sure you can do this.
For
If
sure.
you can't do it,
For sure.
I can't rock with you.
For sure.
But we can sit down and talk and see what's going on. So being able to offer opportunities for people to either we can be employed and to learn business skills. I'm always trying to
like that.
develop leaders.
I like
I
that.
want to replace myself.
Unpack that. Walk me through that.
Well, that part of buying back your time is putting somebody in place that actually loves what they're doing. I love what I'm doing as well also. Don't get it twisted. But I love my wife and my kids more.
I know that's right.
And so
yeah.
if I can generate a great income, but put someone in my place that can that may be single or that may have the bandwidth that I may not have, right? But still get that same bag. Who's winning? We both are.
Wow. I love that.
We both are. So I
that.
tell everybody, stop thinking about yourself. If your solution begins and ends with you, you've already failed.
I love that. So speaking of that, walk me through this. What was one of the most challenging seasons as an investor? Because we know you are extremely successful at this point. What is one of the most challenging things that someone that's listened to this pod to say, man, I want to get into the business, but give me a challenge that you had to walk through?
I didn't grow up, and I grew up in a two-family household.
Okay.
But my mom and dad didn't teach me anything about credit, money, business, cash flow, nothing.
Yeah.
So I had to go, and I'm always thinking from a pioneer standpoint.
Okay.
How can I be first to the mark to do X? Well, when that actually happens, there's very people that can walk with you. Wisdom is taught in two different ways: borrowed knowledge, someone teaching you or discipling you, right? And also the process of walking through that actual experience. Wow. And when you are a pioneer, there's very few mentors that can walk with you. They can give you some principles, but to walk you through the actual things is hard. Well, that's the gift. That's the gift God has given me. Is I'm a pioneer thinker, so I hit all the potholes.
Got you.
I didn't have a Moses walk with me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then God tells you, now you be the Moses. So I'm like, well, Lord, I didn't get a Moses. I was your Moses.
Yeah.
I don't need food. I don't need man to do what I want him to do. Wow. I can walk with you one-on-one, just like I did with Abraham.
100%.
Isaac and Jacob.
100%.
So I just said, whoa.
100%.
One of the challenging portions of my walk was three and a half years ago. We were expecting our first son. First son. And I had a desire to have a son, have two girls.
Okay.
And so I'm celebrating, which is wonderful. I get a phone call. My wife goes to the hospital because she has preeclampsia. We knew that. It's all good. I get a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday saying, you need to come to the hospital now. What's going on? She said, you need to come now.
Yeah.
And so I knew what was going on. So got the kids up, took them over to their auntie's house. And I'm in the car praying, AP, saying, Father, do it again.
Yeah.
Raise him from the dead.
Wow. But
if you don't, prepare my heart for what you're about to put me through. I run into the hospital, lock eyes with the doctor. And I said, he's gone in there. She said, yes, he is. I said, so we can't go back in and change this? No. He said, the placenta separated from the wall. And how God designed the body, it saved your wife and sacrificed the son. And now I have this new information, AP. Had not been on the morning or Excel yet. I said, okay. So I walk into the room, I lock eyes with my wife. She loses it.
Yeah.
Because she's going through it physically.
Yeah.
And I just said, oh my God, what I want to do. This is the brilliance of God. Called my mom, my dad, they were there. And I went to the waiting room, told them what was going on. My mom lost it. I haven't mourned yet, AP. So now I got to console my mama. Now I'm like, Lord, this is big. Yeah. But my best friend, Jason Hanna, he was there with his Bible open. He came to me, gave me the big hug. He said, what can I pray for you for? I said, I don't lean to my own understanding. Because if I do, I will go crazy.
Sure.
That's when I lost it for a second. Because I was able to exhale. Yeah. But AP, the story ain't done. Go back into the room, and the doctor says, okay, we have to go deliver him now. I said, excuse me? You have to get him out. If not, your wife is going to die.
Wow.
And I said, we have to go through the whole delivery process. Go in there, deliver him. AP, when you hear the words, Michael Emmanuel Buggs, time of birth X and time of death X in the same breath, it's chilling. My wife is on the table crying.
Yeah.
I have to hold my son in my hands, deceased.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
But here's the brilliance of God.
Yeah.
Is we went back to the room and I still have him in my hands. And we began to hum the hymn, Hallelujah. And the doctors began to lose it. Wow. She said, what are you doing? I said, the only thing I know to do right now is just to worship.
Wow.
So we all, my wife,
yeah.
my kids, the doctor in there praising the King.
Wow.
While we're holding my son in my hands dead.
Wow.
And then my daughter asked me, she said, Dad, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, it's my oldest. And she said, if God is so good, why did he take Michael from us? I said, baby, that's a phenomenal question. Can I give you a different perspective? She said, sure. I said, do we have all the facts? She said, no. I said, who has all the facts? She said, well, Jesus did. I said, so is it wise for us to make a decision on half the facts or all the facts? She said, that all. I said, that's why we trust that Christ knows what's best because he has all the facts.
Wow.
She said, Dad, that's the most intelligent response I could ever get on this topic.
Wow.
But then, AP, the story he does. I'm in the car driving, bawling like a little boy. And the Lord spoke and he said, Liddell, tell me how you feel about me. I said, Lord, I want to cuss you out.
Yeah.
I want to spit in your face. I want to flick you off because there's no one but you.
Yeah.
I said, Father, we were going to deliver him on Monday. You allowed him to be taken on Sunday. 24 hours, Lord. And the Lord said, son, I can understand that. He said, but let me give you a different perspective. I said, sure, Lord. He said, how do you think I felt when Christ was getting beat for doing nothing? An innocent man. He said, now, this is the one that really got me. He said, when my son asked me a question about hanging on the cross, and he knew the answer to it, and I had to turn my back on him. He said, that was what Christ was sweating, like drops of blood.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be the time he's going to be separated from the Father. Because he never had been.
Yes.
And I said, Lord, thank you for that value. For sharing me that perspective. I said, but Lord, your son got up and ascended to your throne. And right now, he's at your right hand right now. The son that you gave me the desire to actually have, you allowed to be taken from me. I won't see him into glory, and even you control that.
Right.
The Lord said, Liddell, you're correct, and the discussion was over. That was a Job moment. I am God. You are not. Be okay with that.
Wow.
And I said, Lord, I'm okay. I'm okay with the unknown, AP. Because one of God's names is Master. And the master understands what a student needs, what he does not need.
Yeah.
If a master gives a student something prematurely, he disqualifies himself as a master.
100%.
And so that's why I'm okay with the unknown. I said, obviously, in this area, he withholds that answer from me.
100%.
Because I'm not ready for the answer.
And some things you would never know.
No.
And I can relate to that.
Sure.
And on the part two, I know you have your podcast and everything else. We would definitely get to that. But I commend you because you took that situation.
Yeah.
And I always say for every bad situation, there's some good that comes out of it. And so now you are extremely influential and you are able to help others with your gift. Yeah. And in the end, you are able to glorify God.
If it wasn't for Michael passing away, my youngest one never came to the kingdom.
Wow.
She came, she said, Dad, I'm ready to accept Christ as my Savior. I said,
wow.
Why? She said, number one, I love Jesus, I don't want to serve him.
Right.
And number two, I want to see Michael again. I said, oh, she ready.
She ready.
She ready. She ready. Let's get it in. Let's get it in.
Yeah.
People have shouted, man. I've shared Michael's story in different local churches areas. Wow. People was like, you answered questions from me. I was bitter toward God. But you have answered a prayer that I've been praying for years. I had no clue. From my aunt to people that I've never met. People have came to the kingdom because of me talking about Michael. That's it. I said, well, Lord, he's a modern day Billy Graham from the grave. Wow. So I'm like, Lord, do your thing. And I'll see my son again.
100%.
I will.
100%.
I will.
And, it's a real thing. For those that are believers, there's times where you can be angry at God. You could be angry even at the church, if you will. Yeah. And I've been there where, like, why did you let this happen to me? You know what I'm saying? I prayed about it. Yeah. I've fasted about it. Yeah. I did all of the right things. Back to the CEO of, Nokia. Yeah. You can literally do all of the right things and still lose.
Yes, you can.
100%. And still take an L. And so for me, to this point, I'm like, I was angry.
Sure.
I was angry, man. I was embarrassed. I was like, yo, and it was really my pride. It was really my pride getting the best of me because I cared about what others think about
Yeah.
me in that moment.
Yeah.
And here it is, I'm being embarrassed by a decision.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, even though I took an L, I still won.
Oh man,
I still won.
man, the beauty of I tell you about it, I don't lose, I just learn. Every time. I don't
like that.
lose, I learn.
You learn.
Because all things work together for good those who love the Lord are
That's
called
right.
to his purpose.
That's right.
So if it's good, I'm learning something.
I like it.
So just trying to change my perspective and say, okay, I'm trying to take captive every thought and fit it through the word.
Wow.
When it comes to business deals, man, I'm in circles from a international standpoint. And I'm in the room not because of my gifts and my talents. It's because the King is with me. You'd be alarmed at how many people that you see on TV that I've been in the room with, and they'll say, something different about you. I'll say, oh, you just met the King. I started to show you the kingdom.
Right.
Because there's a
Right.
reason why the text says, seek first the kingdom.
Yeah.
Why didn't it say the king? Show them the kingdom.
I like it.
Then they'll say, how do I get into this kingdom? Here is the king.
Yeah, it's an open
That's
opportunity
it.
to present.
Open opportunity,
Yeah, it's an
man.
open opportunity. You know what I like too, what that you're saying? I was talking the other day, and I said that our gift and our talents is not for us.
No.
And I think that's the mistake I've made and others have made as a stylist or as an investor,
Yeah.
whatever your niche is.
Yeah.
But your gift is only the byproduct to get you where God wants you to be.
That's it.
That's it.
It's the
Like
resource.
you're not your, I always say this, you're not your gift. It's just a byproduct of
Yeah.
where you belong. And
Yeah.
so for me listening to you, I'm just inspired, man. I am so inspired by what it is that you're doing.
Christ didn't die for the gift. He died for a relationship with you. In exchange for the gift, for the relationship, he gave you a gift. That's why it's called a gift. You receive a gift.
Receive. Yeah.
So in order for it to be a gift, you have to receive it for someone else.
I love that, man.
And so my whole focus is how can I abide with the King? And as I abide with him, he opens the doors. Because my gift that he's given me makes room for me to be in the presence of kings.
I love that, man.
It's just, I remember sitting down with one of the most successful jewelers in Dallas.
Okay.
Anybody that you know on TV, the Joneses, you name it, they go to him for it.
Gotcha.
Well, I got called to talk to him about his marriage.
Wow.
And I ain't gonna show you all the details, but I noticed something about him. He was complaining about his wife. And I said, no problem. I listened to him, no problem. Now, I'm in sweats, man. Everybody was there on suits. I'm like, no, we have kingdom business. Let's get it.
Yeah.
And so we sitting there, man, and I saw his eyes wondering. And I said, the one thing God's blessed you with is the gift of access. The one thing that's a curse for you is the gift of access because you lack the wisdom to manage it. I said, success can destroy you if you're not ready to manage that. We as humans are not meant to carry glory because glory is heavy by its design. That's why the glory is the King's.
I love that.
But if we can be praised, but then give the glory to him because the glory is heavy.
It's heavy. I love that.
It's heavy.
I love that.
So that's what I can look at.
Man, that's awesome. So turning the corner just a little bit. What are you currently working on as an investor?
Okay.
You're building a community. I know that I am inspired, as I stated before, but what are you currently working on that those who are listening to this today can benefit from?
I think the podcast industry is a phenomenal industry. That's why I love your podcast.
Thank you, man.
This podcast, guys, is fire.
I
It's
appreciate
fire.
it.
Because it's a lot of substance here. So I think that the independent journalists, the independent media is probably the most powerful industry right now on the planet. Because you get so much wisdom. You get NBA type of teaching when it comes to these podcasts.
Yeah.
So I have a media company called Truth in the Marketplace Media, and we actually have a new studio now. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually interviewing candidates for Congress, Texas House candidates, sitting congressmen as well also.
Love that.
And I have a podcast called the Counter Move Podcast. What we do is we take a social issue, economic issue, or a political issue, we unpack it together, infuse wisdom into the equation, and prescribe the right solution.
Wow.
It's for free. It's on every platform on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on all platforms. Then on Friday, this is our most popular one. It's called the Real Estate Training Live Friday.
I love that.
We actually talk about the current market analysis. Then we talk about what's going on in the market, how it affects the average investor now. And then we give an actual skill for you to learn right there on the spot and implement right there. You can make 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 grand off of doing this one solution. Wow. For free.
So how big is your community right now? Is it called what's your community called again?
I Got the Bag University.
I Got the Bag University.
We just started it about maybe a month ago. We have about probably 65 members right now, which is pretty cool. I want to hope they'll go to about 1,000 by the end of the year. I
like it.
Which is great. And my whole thing there is, let me teach you how to find a deal.
Okay.
How to negotiate the deal. How to close the deal. I'll fund the deal. Let's profit share together.
I love that.
I want to take every excuse out. I don't want you to work for me.
I got
That's
you.
joint venture partnership. Joint venture partnerships is probably the most powerful thing right now. How do we know that? Look at your stocks.
Yeah.
It's a joint venture partnership. When it comes to private equity, venture capital, joint venture partnerships. So this is not nothing new, but most people have not been exposed to that structure. So all I'm saying is, okay, let me bring it down to Main Street level. Let's do it deal by deal. And the goal is to be too big to fail. That's the goal.
I love that.
Because that's where the power is. The reason why Amazon, Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Notice I'm mentioning a lot of banks. Yeah. Right? So I said, okay, I'm just going to copy your model and become too big to fail. That's why I buy a lot of land, develop it, and do new construction projects, and we do a build-to-lease scenario. I do some single-family residences individual, but that's more on joint venture partnerships. Yeah. Buying B or C class apartment complexes, anywhere from 50 to 100 plus units. Acquire it, improve the value of it, cash flow it to the Jesus come back, man. Yeah. I'm always about cash flow. How can I free up myself? And then I take that capital, invest it right back into my private equity company, which then invests right into other projects as well. So it's a circle of motion.
Circle of motion. It's all recycling.
Time.
Yeah. So $34+ million worth of investment.
Yeah.
My guy, Liddell, man, this is amazing. Listen, how can they follow you? How can they get in touch with you, man? We can put all the links in the description.
Sure.
But I want you to kind of like give some final messages to those that want to get into the real estate market. In that particular way.
I would say follow me. My first and last name is Liddell Bugs on all platforms. Very simple. I'm pretty sure the link tree will probably be down below. Click on it. Pick one. That's fine. Number two, I always say you are one decision away from changing your entire perspective. Always think about that next yes. You may go through 4, 5, 600 no's, but that 101 person will give you yes. Magic Johnson went through it. Walt Disney went through it. Everybody you know, I went through it. Everybody you know that's successful went through all the no's to get to a yes. I know it could be daunting. I know you may be saying, man, why am I going to get a yes? But your partner's here. I always say yes if the deal is good, but forget the deal being good. I'll teach you how to make sure that it's good. So when it comes to me, I'll say, let's get it. Let's fund it. Let's get it popping. Very simple.
Listen, there you have it. My guy, Liddell, make sure you follow, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Sure. He got an amazing podcast. I can't wait to share more with you. This is another episode of More Than a Barber. Let's go. Hey, yo, check this out. If you like this episode, do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe down below. We got amazing content coming your way. Stay tuned for more. Let's go.